I learned a lot playing baseball growing up, mainly not to throw my helmet after striking out. Learned that one the hard way. Thanks, Dad. That kind of hurt. Today we're going to talk about those life lessons with Coach Wynn on Clubhouse Gas. We're fortunate enough now to be joined by Coach Dave Wynn. Dave's wore many hats when it comes to Youth League Baseball. Coach, Dad, board member, and soon to be league president. Coach Dave, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for being here.
I want to talk a little bit today about the challenges as a coach of dealing with young boys, all right? This is baseball. We all know it who have played it to be one of the hardest, if not the most difficult sport to play in the world. It's where we have to deal with failure, pay attention for long periods of time, two things that young boys aren't too good at, and I want to start talking about the latter. How do you keep your kids focused?
Well, that's probably the hardest challenge as a recreational league coach, is particularly the younger age groups, which is one of the things we do here is we limit the game times so the kids aren't out there too long.
Right.
But, you know, as you get older, just keeping the guys in it is a real challenge because, you know, if they come up and strike out or they make an error, you know, what you've always got to do is just keep encouraging them that it's the next play and there's a lot more baseball to be played and forget about that. And, you know, and you got your teammates and we love you and we support you and we're here to do everything we can to have, you know, you have a good experience and just forget about it.
Let's talk about batting real quick. You know, you hear the stat a lot. You know, baseball is the only sport where if you fail 70% of the time, you're considered a success. How do you teach a 10-year-old that if he gets a hit 3 times out of 10, he's doing a good job?
Well, that's hard for him to understand because every kid at this level that you see coming in here to this park, they all want to be the next Chipper Jones or Jeff Francoeur, and what you can't tell them is they're probably not going to be.
Right.
This may be the only baseball experience they ever have, so you got to keep encouraging them. And I'll give you a story. Last night we were playing here on this field, 11 and 12-year-olds, and one of our best 12-year-old players who's been struggling at the plate was pitching, and he was pitching a beautiful game. And when he came up to bat, he hit a ball as hard as I've seen anybody hit one all year, but he hit it right at the shortstop, who made an incredible play on it. And what he did is he completely put his head down, almost started to tear up as a 12-year-old. So we immediately grabbed him and said, look, you hit it good, that's all you can do. You got a tough break, he made a good play. You're on the mound next inning, you're holding a lead, you've got to keep your head up and throw strikes. So it's almost like babysitting and being psychologist because you're always just trying to pump the guys up for the next play.
Is there a different way of dealing with it from the other point of view, from the pitcher? You know, you got a guy who goes out there, the number one stat that matters is how many runs did he give up, and guys make an error or he throws a good pitch that the guy just goes down and yanks out of the park, especially with today's technology. They can hit one off the ground, over the fence. Is there a different way that you deal with your pitchers in that situation as opposed with your batters who may get out 70 to 80% of the time?
Well, you can. I know. I'll tell you another story. It's the same kid that got the hit to shortstop last night that was down, gave up a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 5th last night on this field again. And what he did is he went over and congratulated the batter as he ran around third base. So we had gotten his head back in shape, and he was okay, and that really just shows a maturing act from him, and it's just constant love and care and communication with these kids, and just knowing that they can do it, and we're behind them, and we'll do anything to help them get better.
One of the more challenging parts, though, as we've talked about batting and pitching, you know, if a guy strikes out, he's coming to you, and you're going to get to talk to him. You know, if the pitcher gets in trouble, you can call time and go talk to him on the mound. But what if you're starting an inning and your right fielder makes an error and there would have been out 1, you've got 3 more outs to get, he's hanging his head. How do you, from the dugout, deal with your right fielder?
Well, you just yell some encouraging words the best you can, and hopefully that the next pitch is thrown pretty quickly and that somebody makes an out and he all of a sudden forgets about that because your team has already turned the corner and gone on to get the next out. So you just got to hope for a good, quick turnaround there.
Dealing with failure, realizing someone hit a home run and did a good job, and congratulating them, being out all by yourself in right field and making an error and having to pick yourself up and rely on your teammates, those 3 things sound like a pretty good foundation for some pretty good life lessons. Is that something that you look at as a coach? This is an opportunity for me to teach this kid something that may pay off down the road?
There's a lot of correlations between baseball and life, and that's what we try to teach here. And as coaches, we try to instill that in all of our players, just to have a good attitude. Come out here and have a great time. We offer a great value proposition here. We try to assign very good coaches to all the kids that really care. And you wouldn't be a coach, a volunteer coach, unless you really cared. And that's really important. And you know, it's important for kids to know that there's going to be plays made in baseball. But I tell them every night, look, you could be at work all day, you know, and do what I do. But no, you're out here playing baseball, so that's, you know, enjoy it while you can. You know, don't ever be mad or upset about somebody making a play against you, but just enjoy the experience.
How difficult as a coach is it to keep their focus on what they can control, how well they do, how they can control their actions, and whether or not the score ends up in your favor?
Well, and that's very important, and that's a good question, and that's another tough task for coaches, is because I think it's just constant communication, and it's talking to the kids about what to expect in certain situations, and that's why you practice. You know, runner on first and second, little Johnny, when you get the ball at third, what are you going to do with it? So you have to kind of walk them through the nuances of the game and understand that there's going to be plays made, and there's not going to be plays made, and you just have to roll with the punches and get ready for the next play, because there's the next play and there's the next game.
I remember as a kid, for me, there were some kind of funny things that the coaches would say, but for you and the coaches around the park here, some verbal cues or maybe nonverbal cues that you use to get a kid's mind maybe off of the bad thing that just happened and get him looking forward.
Well, you know, there's been times when I've gone out to the mound and talked to a pitcher about what he ate for lunch that day. Or, you know, I'll just talk about his girlfriend. Right. But I'll get his mind off whatever he's going through currently, just to try to get him in a different mode, so he can get back to his natural instincts of throwing strikes.
Anything you yell at a fielder who maybe had an error, or maybe whistle at him, or tell him anything in particular?
Shake it off, flush it, forget about it. You know, there's a next play, don't worry about it. You know,
like the College World Series team that brought the toilet.
Right, exactly.
The College World Series with them to flush it.
Yeah, and the kids these days, they come up with all their things, and I'm not in the dugout a lot because I'm always usually out on the bases coaching, so there's all kind of things going on in the dugout about even the kids pumping themselves up and not letting each other get down.
Well, Coach Dave, we really appreciate you joining us. That little Johnny guy makes an appearance in a lot of our shows, even a couple of my my articles. We should send him a T-shirt.
I bet he does.
Little Johnny, he's a ball player. He's all over the place. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember, it's a brand new site. Snoop around, click on all the tabs, see what you can see, and then buy something from the store. We'll see you right back here next time for another great edition of Clubhouse Gas.